Hi, BooTube. It's a little late, so I have to be quiet. I know episode 6 already premiered this week, but this is going to be episode 5 of Supergirl season 3, which is titled Damage. From what I remember, we get some bonding between Lena and James, which in the office, which I think is funny, really funny in so many ways. But what really breaks my heart, I'm not even going to get into that yet. I'm going to get into the main thing. Apparently, remember that Morgan guy who was like, remember that meeting? I forgot which episode. It was one of the earlier episodes. There was like a meeting. James was there. Lena was there. And this one dude named Morgan was there. And he's like, telling Lena, are you trying to repent for your brother Lex? Or your mother who brought the aliens? Oh wait, no, that was you. Remember that jackass? Yeah, he's back. And apparently there's a newscast with him on it. And he's in Lena Luthor's freaking hospital. And Lena's like, what the hell is he doing in my hospital, right? And I don't blame her. And apparently he's there because there's a bunch of kids there in Lena Luthor's hospital that are apparently diagnosed with lead poisoning. And Morgan on live TV is like, these kids are suffering lead poisoning. Basically, he's like, it's all Lena Luthor's fault because she's the one that made the lead bomb that repelled the Daxamites. And even though it repelled all the Daxamites, it left all these kids with lead poisoning. It's all your fault, Lena Luthor, and all that stuff, right? And basically, that led to all the parents of these poor children to pretty much turn on Lena, right? And that pretty much causes Lena, with all this heat and hatred from the parents of the lead poisoning children. You know, at one point, Kara tries to prove it wrong. She's like, Lena had no choice, otherwise Daxamites would still be here, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And even with the help of Wen, trying to see if the bomb was actually truly the cause, and unfortunately the percentages was not in Lena's in favor. When Wen did the whole calculations, there was a possibility that the lead poisoning was caused by the lead bomb. Which sucks, right? And it pretty much leads Lena to not only resign from Catco, but from also L-Corp. And while she's doing that, she tries to do like a public speech to pretty much defend herself and all that stuff. And while that's all happening, Kara, Wynn, everyone's trying to help Lena, even James, and it's not looking good for her, you know what I mean? And while she gives her speech trying to defend herself, I want to say it was one of the parents, all like wearing a hoodie and all that shit, ends up opening fire during the friggin' the speech. And it seemed like no one got shot until, unfortunately, James was, because James was there, Kara was there, and even Samantha was there, right? And while they opened fire, we see that James, covered Lena, and apparently he got shot protecting her, right? And, if I remember correctly, that's when she decides to resign from both Catco and L-Corp, because she's like, the parents are pissed off, everyone's pissed off at Lena, because, of course, Lena, in their eyes, was the one that brought the Daxamites over, with the trickery of her own mother. And the lead poisoning from the kids was apparently her fault in everyone's eyes, especially the parents, because of the lead bomb. And now she got shot at, and poor James ends up getting wounded, protecting her, right? But anyway, Kara and Samantha decide to team up and try to investigate, to try to prove that Lena is innocent in all this, especially with the lead poisoning. And they discover that all the children that have lead poisoning all attended a public pool. So, of course, Samantha doesn't know this, but Kara was like scanning, her x-ray vision on the pool when she was with Samantha at night. They pretty much broke into that public pool together. And of course, Samantha doesn't know this, but Kara used her X-ray vision and saw the lead. But to, she can't reveal to Samantha she's Supergirl, so she has to find like a non-Supergirl way to tell Samantha, oh, there's lead in the pool. So she gets some of it, and she has Wynn test it out. Boom. They find out that that public pool is literally laced with a chemical that basically gives the same exact symptoms as the lead bomb to give lead poisoning, right? And they end up finding a room somewhere there in the public pool area, because it's like an indoor pool, and they find a room filled with that chemical, right? And it comes from a manufacturing company, and they end up calling calling Lena and telling them, yeah, all these kids that have lead poisoning, they all attended a local indoor pool, and it is laced with a chemical that gives the same exact symptoms as lead poisoning. So most likely these kids got lead poisoning by this pool and not your bomb, right? And they also tell her about the company label that's literally on the chemicals that they found, right? And Lena immediately recognized it, and I could only naturally assume that she recognized the company because of Morgan. And lo and behold, we find out that that company that owned those chemicals that pretty much gave lead poisoning to those kids was owned by none other than freaking Morgan, who was at Lena's hospital, all like, look at these poor children with lead poisoning, it's all Lena Luthor's fault. He's the one that purposely put a chemical in the pool that all these kids swim in to give them lead poisoning, and he's all like, you poor children with lead poisoning, and he's the one who did it. I hope Morgan gets like shot or something. I'm not too corrupted to say like behead him or mutilate him or anything. Just shoot him somewhere, like the leg or something. Make him suffer. Make his ass suffer. He purposely poisoned a bunch of kids with lead poisoning. Hello. Anyway, while Lena, she confronts Morgan, she even has a gun to the dude's face, and it's like, I'm a Luthor and all that stuff, right? She ends up getting knocked unconscious by like a third party. I want to say it's one of those hired hand assassins for Morgan anyway. But as she wakes up, she finds herself trapped on a plane filled with barrels of the very same freaking chemicals that were in the pool. And she also notices that she's literally alone in the plane with those barrels. There's like the plane is basically being someone's flying the plane, obviously, but remote control. There's Lena Luthor literally is the only living thing on that plane. And turns out we were right, because we see Morgan there with, remember that I told you she got knocked out by a hired hand by Morgan? Same guy that knocked her out is there with Morgan. He's the one flying the plane with like a little joystick thing and everything. And she's trapped on the plane with the barrels, and apparently he's intending to release it into the water supply, so they could pretty much poison everybody with lead poisoning, basically. And so everyone will think, oh, Lena Luthor's bomb not only got the kids lead poisoning, it got everybody lead poisoning, right? And what else happened that day? Supergirl ends up rescuing Lena by pretty much halving she pretty much ripped the plane in half. She had one half of the plane had Lena in it in one hand, and the other half of the plane had the barrels in it. And she was like, she couldn't hold on to both of those halves, right? And Lena's like, let go of the half with me in it. Save the barrel so it doesn't get in the water supply. Just let me die, right? And of course, Kara's not gonna do that, right? She's like, climb, Lena, climb. And then she manages to climb, which is badass. I love it. I really, really thought that Supergirl might have actually dropped Lena. Mainly because Lena's like, it's okay. Drop me. Save everybody. I honestly thought Supergirl might have done it. Because Lena told her to. But she managed to climb and jump and catch Supergirl's hand enough so that freaking Supergirl could let go of that half and have Lena on one hand and the other half of the plane with the barrels in the other, right? And she manages to also destroy the plane. Unfortunately, Morgan escapes by pretty much covering his tracks, and one way he covered his tracks, the guy that was with him, the one that knocked out Lena and was controlling the plane, yeah, he shot him, killed him, right? And, what really broke my heart in this episode was what was going on with this couple Sandvers, Alex and Maggie. Unfortunately, Alex, during this whole thing, has been telling Maggie, you know, will you ever want children? And of course, Maggie still says no. And Alex is like, you know what? I'm not gonna budge. If you're not gonna budge about not having kids, I'm not budging either. I want kids. And, you know, it's heartbreaking because Alex is like, Maggie's like, just say it. Just say it. Say what you want to say. And Alex pretty much says, I'm always going to want to have children, but unfortunately you will never want children, so I have no choice but to end things. And of course, you know, it's heartbreaking, and at one point, you know, in an attempt to reconcile with Alex, her and Maggie have like a little mini dance thing with theirs, and what's playing in the background when they're dancing in the apartment was the very same, it was their song. It was the song that they danced to when Maggie gave Alex that prom. And it broke my heart even more when I heard that. And, like, they were dancing together, and obviously they had sex. Because they were, like, dragging each other. They're pretty much, like, going toward the bed, and dressing, kissing, and all that stuff. Obviously, they did you-know-what, right? But unfortunately, it still did not work because, you know, Alex is like, I still want kids. I'm never going to budge from that decision, just like you're never going to budge from not wanting kids. So I have no choice. We have to end things. Because and I understand where Alex is coming from, because if you are going to continue a relationship where you guys want different things, it's not going to work very well. No matter how much you guys want them to be together, it's not going to work. They want different things. That's going to clash, and that's going to cause so much more problems and so much more heartache. So it's better that they separate now. And maybe in the long run, maybe one of them will change their mind. I highly doubt that Alex will, because Alex really wants gung-ho about having kids. But maybe in the long run, maybe Maggie will change her mind, you know. She will be like, I love Alex so much, maybe having a kid won't be that bad, you know what I mean? So I am very heartbroken that Sandvers is gone in this episode, but, you know, in the long run, maybe Maggie will come back, but we all know that the main reason why Maggie's gone is because the actress herself is not returning to Supergirl. So, but, maybe she'll make a guest appearance, the actress, and maybe Maggie will come back, and maybe she'll want to have kids. You'll never know, right? You'll never know. But they do separate in somewhat friendly manner because, you know, they're like, see ya Danvers and all that stuff. And at the end, before she closes the door, Maggie does say, you'll make an amazing mom to Alex, which I thought was beautiful. But what really broke my heart was, like, you know, Alex finally breaks down when she's alone, and you see their rings there on the freaking dresser. But what really was crazy, though, I am running out of time, though, was, Samantha. Like I said, she was there during the whole press conference speech. When the shooting happened, like, she's tucking in her daughter, and her daughter notices there's a hole in her mother's shirt. And I was like, oh my god, a hole. Did she actually get shot during that speech? And it turns out, after she tucks in her daughter, she goes over to her jacket, and a messed up bullet, like it's obviously smashed, like it hit something, drops down. And then we get a flashback of the shooting, and it turns out Samantha did get shot. And that bullet smashed when it hit her, and when she looked to see where she got shot, nothing. So basically, Samantha just learned she's bulletproof. She's getting closer to finding out she's Rain, guys. But anyway, this is my reaction rant. I'm running out of time. To Supergirl Season 3, Episode 5, titled Damage. I'll see you for Episode 6. Peace.